Nobody talks about the guilt of not liking back. The kindest guy you know would treat you right. Like, he's sweet, he's respectful,
but
he's probably the guy your mom would love for you to be with. And yet something in you just doesn't click. And then you feel bad because you can't even explain why. Like, how do you tell someone it's not you, it's just that my heart's not in it?
Right.
It almost makes you feel ungrateful because you know there are people out here begging for someone like him. But here you are, not feeling it. And the worst part is you can see he would move mountains for you.
All right. It's always like a really interesting thing to see a mature or a woman who should be mature when it comes to how she dates, to hear her talk like she's in her early 20s and still doesn't understand how to select a man. You hear her talking about your heart, right? What does your heart have to do with anything at all? People who still date and lead with their heart truly don't understand that leading with feelings and your love and that tingly feeling you get deep down inside is short-lived and is not going to carry you through any serious relationship.
Don't settle, ladies. You're literally someone's dream girl. I mean that. So somebody out there is praying for a woman just like you. The way you laugh, the way you care so deep, the way you show up for people even when you're tired. You might feel like you're too much if you're with the wrong guy. But for the right one, girl, you'll be just right. He won't make you feel hard to love. He'll make you feel safe. He'll be proud to have you. And you won't have to beg him to show up. So stop shrinking to fit into someone's weak effort. Stop overgiving just to feel halfway seen. That's not love. That's a lesson. You are not lucky to be picked. You are the prize. You don't need to lower your standards. You just need to stop wasting your time on people who don't see your worth. So yeah, don't settle, because you're not just a girl. You're someone's answered prayer. And one day he's going to thank God that you never gave up on love.
All this, as she says, points to an immaturity in how she views relationships. That's my opinion. Of course, if you disagree, comment down below. But another telling thing is she says you can't explain what it is. That's a problem. You should know what you want when it comes to who you're attracted to, what you're looking for. Is it that you don't find him physically attractive? No, he just doesn't have it. What's it? Right? Is it physical attraction? Is it shared values? What is it? The problem is that too many people today date like they're in a movie and they're relying on feelings and how I feel about the person, but they can't define things. And even some men date like women for a serious relationship, leading with their feelings. If you're a man, you should not be dating this way. You should be able to define, what does a marriage look like to you? How would you define that? Foundational value. That's a foundational value. Of course, you want that attraction there as well. So you want that initial attraction. Does that person have shared values when it comes to those foundational values? Do you define a marriage the same way? Then leading to, after that, it's your personal values, right? The type of things that matter on a personal level to you. But all this is just a woman who might go on for the rest of her life realizing that that guilty feeling is her maybe passing on the best possible situation. She will get with the man who will use and abuse her, come out traumatized, talking about how all men are terrible. And here she could have had someone who would have treated her right. Yeah, but he's not her ideal person. Your ideal guy, you probably could have capitalized on back when you were in your mid 20s, not yet a lot older. You don't have the cards in your hands right now, most likely. Otherwise, you wouldn't be dealing with this.
But you also know that if you forced yourself to be with him, it wouldn't be fair. Not to him, not to you. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is not lead someone on. And yeah, it's hard, but you can't fake love, y'all. It's either there or it's not.
All right, read a few of these comments, see what the people have to say. Again, all this talk about love, and it doesn't mean that love isn't important, but this is why I believe most women really don't do a good job with picking men. I don't know. You tell me. Are they doing a good job? Top commenter says, men don't have this guilt, and neither should we. This is hilarious. And so they've made this whole situation about them. Poor me, because I feel guilty about this man who's moving mountains and doing everything he can. This is about me. She responded back and says, thank you for at least recognizing the feeling.
Love should feel like freedom, not a cage. Like, if it starts to feel like you're losing yourself in the process of keeping someone, that's love begging to be released. Like, if you gotta shrink yourself just to make them comfortable, or stop doing stuff that you love just to avoid an argument, that ain't love, bestie. That right there, that's survival. Real love lets you breathe. It sees you, all of you, and says, I'm not scared of your shine. Like, you shouldn't have to tiptoe around the person who's supposed to be your safe place. So if it feels like you're locked up instead of lifted up, that's not your forever love. That's a lesson. Let it go so you can grow. And don't feel guilty. Choosing you ain't selfish. It's sacred.
Another person who says, I just want to say you are a special woman. Why? Why is she special? 98% of women on this app would rather lie and pretend kind men don't exist at all than to admit what you did. And it's actually sad. Thank you for your honesty. This chick here says, I usually don't find them physically attractive. However, and this is where the face palms come, right? When you're like, okay, so what are you attracted to? Well, at least 6'3". Somebody else who says, the good guy can be your worst nightmare. Here we go. Here we go. So then, right, don't complain about the bad dude. Somebody else who says, nah, go with your gut. Another person who says, no, trust your gut. I decided to date a man like this, and he ended up being the most abusive person I've ever dated. From now on, if my body is telling me I don't like someone, I don't care how nice they are. I am not dating them. This gentleman here says, if he doesn't do it for you, it's okay. A man deserves someone over the moon for him too. I actually agree. I do agree with that. And yes, both can be true, right? Somebody else who says, I'm with him right now and I want to leave. Okay, we're definitely going to check you out. She's talking about she's with them right now. Oh, Zambian with the Zambian flag. My sister, what's going on? Somebody else who says, Steve Urkel. Somebody else who says, not guilt, but chemistry is chemistry. Another person who says, don't feel bad. He deserves someone that will treat him like the king he is. You see, a lot of people will probably misunderstand what I'm saying here. I'm not saying you need to get in a relationship with someone who you don't have chemistry with. I'm saying most likely it's not the fact that there's no chemistry. For a lot of these chicks, it's just the fact that the man is not exciting enough and is boring, so to speak, and they have unrealistic standards and expectations. Right. Somebody else who says they always lack the most important thing sometimes, regardless, I can't settle for a man who's not physically my taste. This person says, she says, wants Spider-Man, but ignores Peter Parker. This person says, I dated a man that's amazing, entrepreneur with multiple businesses and somehow always made time for me. Listened and paid attention to the things I liked. Surprises, flowers, and dates, and I felt nothing. I bet if he introduced some chaos inside of that life with her red hair, then all of a sudden, it would make sense. A lot of these women just love chaos. And to a man whose goal is just to smash, this is an easy solution, right? He's not trying to build any type of long lasting relationship. Then they could just be toxic. It's just like feed her a dream. And now she's like, oh, now I'm hooked on him. Someone else here says, as someone who gave the good guy a chance, I strongly recommend that you never do it. That boy did me dirtier than anybody I've ever been with. Another person here says, don't do it. I've given chances to people against my first gut instinct and lived through serious trauma. Trust yourself. Yeah. Guys, what do you think? Hey guys, as always, I appreciate you for checking out yet another episode of The Coffee Pod. To my currently engaged or soon to be married men, if you need a prenup and would like a guide that shows you how to get a solid and legally binding prenuptial agreement, hit the link into the top of the comment section and access your guide at fathershaverights.com today.